Breakthrough in the case of a missing Iowa TV news anchor who vanished 28 years ago, and it could potentially pinpoint a person of interest.
It's not every day that a real-life mystery gets a documentary treatment, but when it does, it better be good. Jodi Huisentruit, an Iowa news anchor who mysteriously vanished in 1995, is getting her story told again, this time with new revelations in the 2025 Hulu documentary, Her Last Broadcast. If you thought cold cases were only for late-night detectives, think again. This case proves that the truth is stranger and more captivating than fiction. The power of a good story. Let's face it, a well-told story can make you believe anything. Did aliens land in Roswell? Sure, tell it right, and we'll all be convinced. But when it comes to real stories, like Jodi's disappearance stories, can be more than just entertainment. They can make or break a case. The mystery of Jodi Huisentruit is one such example of how a compelling narrative keeps us captivated and pushes the investigation forward. If a case isn't told in a way that hooks the audience, the details can fade into background and the pursuit of justice can be delayed indefinitely. In Her Last Broadcast, the storytellers aren't just telling Jodi's story. They're telling your story, too. You know, the story where you're a detective in your own right, solving the world's mysteries one click at a time. As the details unfold and you start connecting the dots, the narrative practically becomes your own investigation. So, grab your magnifying glass and let's dive into how a great story could lead to the truth. Spoiler alert, you might not solve the case, but you'll definitely learn how to craft a killer story for your next dinner party. Who is this for? So, who's the target audience here? Well, if you've ever binge-watched a true crime doc while simultaneously scrolling through a social media feed, congratulations, this documentary is definitely for you. Whether you're a seasoned armchair detective who can name every single suspect in the case, or a content creator trying to make your storytelling stand out from the clutter of the internet, Her Last Broadcast offers something for everyone. Here's the kicker. While the true crime community will love the juicy details, aspiring storytellers, aka you, will get some masterful techniques on how to structure a narrative that keeps people hooked from start to finish. After all, no one wants to hear a boring story, right? Especially if it's about a real-life mystery. Whether you're crafting your own story or soaking up the excitement of Jodi's case, Her Last Broadcast proves that good storytelling isn't just about facts. It's about creating an experience that keeps people engaged long after the screen goes dark. What's in it for you? By the end of this documentary, you'll not only be all caught up on the case of Jodi Huisentruit, but you'll also have some handy tricks up your sleeve to improve your storytelling game. Here's what you'll learn. How to craft a narrative that keeps people on the edge of their seats, or at least makes them forget to check their phone. The documentary shows how a good story can make even the smallest detail feel crucial, holding the audience's attention through every twist and turn, no matter how minor it might seem. You'll also discover how to bring dead cases and dead stories back to life. It's not magic, it's storytelling. There's a certain art to weaving together old evidence with new insights and telling it in a way that feels fresh, relevant, and emotionally charged. The documentary does exactly that, showing us how an older case can still captivate a new generation, and maybe even push law enforcement closer to answers. When you can reframe a cold case into an engaging narrative, you're not just telling a story, you're keeping a mystery alive. Why details matter more than you think is a huge takeaway, like how the color of someone's socks might be the key to solving a crime. Okay, maybe not socks, but you get the point. A tiny, seemingly insignificant detail can completely shift the direction of an investigation, or at the very least, add that extra layer of intrigue that turns a bland case into something everyone's talking about. And of course, you'll learn how to ethically tell real-life stories without making the audience feel like they're watching an episode of CSI. Fictional edition. There's a responsibility to portraying the truth, especially in cases that affect real people. It's crucial to balance gripping storytelling with respect for those involved, which is something Her Last Broadcast navigates with care. The secrets of effective storytelling. Now, let's talk about the real secret sauce. Storytelling. You know, the type of stories that make you yell, "Plot twist," halfway through the documentary? The ones where you can't stop watching until you know what happens next, even if it's 2 a.m. and you have work in the morning. Those kinds of stories are the ones that make Her Last Broadcast worth watching. It's a masterclass in how to weave suspense, emotional weight, and shocking revelations into a single narrative. If you've ever stayed up all night to finish a book or a show because it was just that good, you'll see why storytelling is a key to drawing an audience. In the case of Jodi Huisentruit, the storytelling is more than just the facts. It's about framing the mystery in a way that keeps you intrigued. The filmmakers know exactly how to create a sense of urgency, making each detail feel important and every clue a potential game changer. Here's how you do it. Start with a bang. No, not literally, but begin by dropping the audience right into the mystery Jodi disappeared without a trace. Doesn't that sound like the beginning of a great thriller? That's how you hook people from the very first second. Build up the intrigue. Make your audience ask, "What's going on here?" Every new lead or reveal should be just enough to keep them guessing. You can't give it all away at once. You have to make them work for the answers. And make it personal. Use real people and real emotions. Interviews with Jodi's friends, family, and investigators help turn a cold case into a story about real lives, real pain, and real hope. The best part of her last broadcast is the deep dive into how this case affects real people, not just a victim, but everyone involved, keeping it engaging. The challenge with any documentary, especially on a true crime case, is keeping the energy high for nearly 20 minutes. That's right. No one wants to feel like they're in a history class. So how do you keep your audience engaged? Simple. Change it up. Nobody wants to hear the same thing for too long. So it's important to mix up the pacing and presentation. In her last broadcast, the pacing is critical. The story is carefully segmented into chapters, each providing a new angle to explore. Whether it's a deep dive into the initial investigation or an update on new developments, each chapter feels fresh and engaging. This documentary takes full advantage of change of pace. The rhythm of the story is designed to keep the audience on their toes. There's always something new to discover. And just when you think you figured out, another lead or twist comes into play. It could be anything from a surprising new suspect to an emotional interview with a family member. Keep things moving, add in some suspenseful moments, throw in an expert interview or two, and boom, engaged audience. Pro tip: always leave your audience hanging after each segment. A little mystery goes a long way. Storytelling through visuals. Let's be honest, visuals make everything better. Whether the dramatic reenactment or a gritty crime scene photo, yes, those exist, visuals give life to the narrative. It's one thing to hear about the case. It's another to see it unfold right before your eyes. Visuals can be the extra layer that makes a good story great. It's the difference between hearing about a car chase and seeing it happen in real time. That's the power of visuals. They make the story come to life. In her last broadcast, the visuals help make the story more immersive. Crime scene photos, archival footage, and even little pop-up text boxes that drop intriguing facts or highlight important clues ensure that the audience is not just listening, they're feeling the story. And that's what great storytelling is all about. Making your audience experience the emotions of the story, not just hear them. The use of visuals also helps break up the information, allowing the audience to process what they're learning in a more dynamic way. Every image, every clip, and every flash of text builds emotional intensity, pulling the viewer deeper into the investigation. Let's leave it at this: storytelling is not just about creating drama or suspense. It's about inspiring action and eliciting emotion. Whether it's a case like Jodi Huisentruit's or your next social media post, remember that every good story starts with a spark of curiosity. So, what's your story? And if you like this, don't forget to hit the like button. You'll be doing yourself a favor, because we both know that great stories deserve to be shared.